All right. Welcome, boys and girls. We are ready to start drawing today. So, as usual, 5 minutes on the clock. Caleb, you got that 5 minutes for me?
Yep.
All right, let's do this. Warm up time. I'm going to be drawing some raptors today. I'm going to try something new, and instead of shading and like really finishing it, I'm going to just try and get some sketches out and do 3 of them. But first, we're going to start with our 5-minute warm up just to loosen up.
All right. How's your morning going so far, Austin?
It's going pretty good. Went to the gym this morning. Worked out.
Nice.
You ever heard of TikTok before?
TikTok, no?
Oh man,
Maybe I have. I don't know.
it's an app. My brother, it's like I don't know what it is. It's like a magnet for like the cringiest people slash things on the internet that you could possibly find. Just like so awkward and just ultimate cringe, ultimate cringe.
What?
And my brother sent me a video of like a cringe compilation on YouTube, TikTok cringe stuff, and then I downloaded the app because I was like, I gotta see. Is it all like this? Is this just like the worst? It's like all of it. It's like the most. It's like the cringiest website ever. It is so. Oh man, it's like I can't even. I there's no words. I'll just have to show you afterwards. There's just simply no words. I couldn't sleep because of it.
Oh my
I couldn't
gosh.
stop thinking about how cringy it was.
That's weird.
It'll make you
What kind of stuff?
like. It's so weird. It's like a lot of lip syncing. Like the app is like designed to like play music, and then you like lip sync to like movie scenes or like music.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Like saying totally different stuff or
no,
like
like saying like what is in the movie, but you're
Okay.
like lip syncing it or whatever.
Okay.
That's a lot of it. It's like okay, there's this one that's like they're kind of like trends that people do that you can participate in, and one of them is like um the song that's like it's like a country song, and the lyrics, part of the lyrics say I may not be a 10, but the boys say I clean up good, and like they lip sync to it, and then when it says but the boys say I clean up good, and then they'll do like a camera trick or something and like cover the lens, and then when they uncover it, they're like all like supposed to look all sexy, like
Uh-huh.
like they start out just like no makeup or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and like swipes or whatever, like oh yeah, I might not be a 10, but the boys say clean up good, and then they like reveal, and it's supposed to be like oh damn, like dang, but for a lot of them it's like
So bad.
not really. Like it's not that they're like super ugly or anything like that. It's just that they're trying to like pass themselves off as like
I'm way too
I
hard.
am a freaking sexy animal, and they just come across so cringy and awkward. Like they're just it's so cringy. It's just so cringy, and like boys do it and girls do it, and it's just like the ultimate cringe fest. I don't know. It was just like I'll just have to show you afterwards. It's just like a bunch of stuff like that, or like just like awkward, like teenage boys trying to be like super hot and like being all like, "Hey, baby, what's up, girl?" Like doing lip syncs to these like really like sensual music videos or stuff like that, and they're like 14 and super skinny and
Oh my
really
gosh.
cringy. Ugh, it's so bad. It's so bad. I don't recommend it to anyone, but if you've been on TikTok, you know what I'm talking about. Some of them are pretty funny. Some of them are well done, but most of them are like, oh boy. Our 5 minutes.
Yep.
All right. Sometimes I'm worried that someone new to the stream is going to jump in when I'm doing my warm-up and be like, wow, this guy sucks at drawing. Why would anyone watch this live stream? Oh, well, whatever. It's a warm-up. Okay. Like, I'm going to do 3 today. So how much time we have? 45 minutes, so 15 minutes each. So can you set a 15-minute timer?
Will do.
And I'm going to try and do 3 sketches. Only spend 15 minutes on each one.
Nice. So there's not going to be real, a lot of shading or anything on these.
I mean, maybe I might get far enough that I do, but
that'd be cool.
I don't know. I'm pretty. Maybe I shouldn't say I'm gonna jinx it. I'm pretty good with raptors. Like I'm pretty familiar with their anatomy, and I've drawn them a lot. So I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. Raptors just to me have really, I think, really simple shapes that are really easy to block out, I think.
So let us know in the chat what you guys are drawing today. Also let us know if you're doing what Austin is doing, and let us know if you decide to do a series of sketches today. Trying to work on speed and now, I'm curious, Austin, what do you have your canvas set to? What are your canvas settings? Like your image size and your resolution and all of that.
I go really big just in case I ever want to use this for print or do something with it, like make a print of it. So I typically my standard, unless it's specifically for another project that needs specific dimensions, my default is 11 by 15 inches at 300 dpi.
Nice.
So it's pretty big, way bigger than most people probably paint or what's necessary in most instances, but I just like to be safe, rather be safe than sorry, because I hate it when I'm like, wow, this is really cool, and then I want to go print it, but if I blow it up bigger than like postcard size on a print, it doesn't turn out, like it doesn't look right,
Yeah.
So I try and give myself as much like leeway as possible.
Cool.
I know these are like, this raptor is extremely anatomically incorrect, the sculpt, but it's like super stylized, but it looks cool and I like it.
Like his big long arms.
That just the way his arms are, the raptors didn't hold their arms like that at all. His head is not really the right shape either. They looked a lot more like birds than this does. Their arms would have been more like if I just do like a little quick little mini raptor over here. Would have looked probably, the tail could be longer and the head could be a lot smaller. Arms look probably a little bit more like this. The claws going back like that. Anyways, like the raptor figures I have over there on my shelf, those are pretty accurate. At least they're meant to be. Constantly finding new evidence that kind of changes our theories on dinosaurs and stuff as we get more and more information. It almost, like with what we know today, it almost seems like, at least to me, it seems like, well, obviously, like, how did we not think they were like birds? Like, look at it. Like, it looks just like a chicken with a really long tail, like the way it walks and the way like its head is oriented and stuff like that. Like, how did we ever look at that and be like, oh, that's like a lizard? But I mean, there are some similarities, I suppose, to reptiles, but it just seems like, in hindsight, it seems almost like, well, obviously it's related to birds. Yeah, it's crazy how, so like when Jurassic Park came out, up until that point, most people's idea of a dinosaur looked a lot more like the dinosaurs from like old Ray Harryhausen movies or like Land Before Time, where they were just kind of like fat, plodding beasts, who's like T-Rex stood like upright, sort of like, like the old toys where it's like that, you know what I'm talking about? T-Rex is like standing up like that.
Yeah.
And like all the dinosaurs just look like really fat and slow. And up until Jurassic Park, that's kind of what everyone thought dinosaurs looked like, because scientists thought that they were cold-blooded. And when Michael Crichton was writing Jurassic Park, the author of the book, there's research coming out that suggested that they weren't actually like that they're actually warm-blooded.
And what would cold-blooded mean for the way they look?
So cold-blooded means that they don't generate their own body temperature, their own body heat. Their metabolism isn't high enough to be able to generate a consistent body temperature. It's like reptiles, for example, they're cold-blooded, which means that they have to get their body heat by sitting out in the sun in order to build up enough energy to do bursts of speed where they run and stuff like that. But because of that, because their metabolism is so incredibly slow, it does a couple things for them. One, it makes it so that they can go like a whole month between meals practically, like big snakes and stuff like that, because their metabolism is so slow. But it also makes it so that for the most part they're extremely really lethargic and really slow, and they can't really do a whole lot most of the time, which is why when you see lizards or snakes, most of the time, like if you go to the zoo and you see a lot of reptiles, most of the time they're just sitting there in their cage doing absolutely nothing unless they're eating something and they're going after food. While mammals, a lot of times, are like moving around their cage and doing stuff because they just simply have a lot more energy to expend. But yeah, I think the current science suggests that they are hypoendothermic or something like that, which is sort of like a mix between the two, between warm blood and cold blood. I can't remember exactly. I think some of them evolved to be warm blooded because they know that there were dinosaurs that lived in like Arctic climates now, which is pretty cool. Anyways, so everyone thought that they were really slow. Research was coming out that they didn't look like that. Like, it was kind of a paradigm shift happening in the paleontology field where like they're realizing that one of the prevailing theories at the time was that what is happening? Please stop selecting that. Okay. One of the prevailing theories was that like there was a couple, like for example that Brontosaurus and other theropods, not theropods, I can't remember the word. Dinosaurs with long necks. The prevailing theory is that they were too big to have like existed on land because they would have been crushed under their own body weight and their muscles wouldn't have been able to hold themselves up. So the theory was that they actually lived in the water most of the time, which is that's why they had the long neck, so they could stick their head out of the water and breathe, you know. And that was just a theory for a long time, but after doing more tests and research, they realized that that wouldn't even be possible because their necks were so long that if their body was that far under the water, their rib cage was not built to withstand that kind of pressure, and that just the water pressure itself would like collapse their ribs because it wasn't really designed to withstand pressure from all sides that it would be experiencing from that depth of water. But the reason they thought they couldn't stand up like that is because the way they had structured the skeleton was not accurate, because since they thought that they were more like lizards, they assumed that their legs, that they like, if we were to look at a front view of a dinosaur, like this is like a big brontosaurus or whatever, they thought their legs were like this, like a lizard or like a crocodile, where they stood out to the sides instead of underneath them, like more of a mammalian pose where their weight rests on top of their legs like that. And the difference is that when you're in that sort of push-up position, it's really hard to maintain that much body weight on that for a long period of time, because it's basically like you're in a push-up all the time, and it's not very plausible for something that heavy to stand like that. And so they just assumed like, oh, it had to have been underwater. But then they ended up finding hints in the fossils as they uncovered more and more fossils, that there were, you can see like in a rhino, for example, or an elephant or hippos, like these really big animals that have a lot of body mass and carry themselves with their legs underneath them. Where the hip joint rubs against the pelvis, like the thigh bone rubs against the pelvis, the place where the weight is getting pushed on the most, like the top of the pelvic bone, is really, really thick compared to the rest of the socket, because it's having to support the weight of the animal. So like if this is a socket and the hip's right here and it's moving around like this, and like the weight of the animal's resting on this part was way thicker than the rest of it because it's having to support the weight. And they ended up finding similar things in the fossils that you would think that if it was the other way, they're doing a push-up, it would have been like different, you know. And so all these things that just like started changing about how we view dinosaurs, that if Jurassic Park hadn't been made, probably would have taken a way longer time to get into the public and cultural sphere of like what dinosaurs looked like. And that like basically revolutionized what everyone thought of as a dinosaur when they saw that movie, because they were like, they were fast, they were scary, you know, they were agile, you know, they seemed way more like real animals instead of like these weird things that just like didn't, like when you saw the old dinosaurs, it was like, this kind of looks like a cartoon, like it doesn't seem like this was something that actually lived, because it doesn't look anything close to like what we have now, you know. But yeah, it's just really interesting. It's really interesting. There's still always the thing that seems like they're changing their opinion the most on, or like finding new evidence, or like trying to figure out, is a T-Rex.
Really?
For a while they were like, it couldn't move very fast at all, it was just a scavenger. Then they're like, nope, actually it could move really fast, it was a predator and a scavenger. I don't know, they're just always changing. And they're like, T-Rex 100% had feathers, and they're like, actually it seems like he didn't have feathers, and there's like, maybe he only had like a little bit of feathers. Yeah, it's pretty interesting though. I really like paleontology. They have found one of the crazier things they found was, they believe it came from either a Bambiraptor or Archaeopteryx, which are like really small bird-like raptor type things. Archaeopteryx is kind of like an in-between fossil of like a raptor and a bird. Like it has wings, but it probably couldn't really fly. It was more like glide, you know, but it had claws on the end of its wings. But anyways, they found a tail of a dinosaur trapped in amber, and it still had all the feathers on it and everything.
Whoa.
It was just like mummified, basically, like the mosquitoes in Jurassic Park. You know how they're just like stuck in the amber, you know, and you can just like see them. It was an entire dinosaur tail that was just stuck
Dang.
in the amber. You could see all the feathers on it, and
That's crazy.
it was insane. Yeah. And they found other like sometimes they'll get impressions of dinosaur skin that basically become like mummified, like the impression imprints into the stone, and then becomes fossilized. So they have like an imprint of dinosaur skin texture and what it was like.
Wow.
And they found like feathers and like like the bumpy sort of skills that they thought they would have had, and it's pretty interesting.
Wow.
It's also interesting the people who claim like, oh, paleontology is fake, or like dinosaurs aren't real and stuff. And there's there's a lot of people like that, surprisingly. And the thing that I just don't understand is like, if paleontology was like fake and not real, why would they constantly be finding and presenting evidence that proved previous theories they had come up with wrong? Like, why would they constantly be debunking themselves?
Why wouldn't
And
they
then,
just be trying to prove?
yeah, why
themselves
wouldn't,
right?
if they're making it all up, why wouldn't they just be like, see, everything we said is right because all the evidence points to it, instead of being like, oh, nope, we found more evidence, we were wrong, we're going to revise our beliefs. Which, like, people use that as an argument all the time for like why you shouldn't, why they're like, well, just because science says so doesn't mean we should believe it. And it's like, yeah, you're right, but you should believe the evidence. And the thing that makes science so reliable is that it has a built-in system for determining when it's wrong. Like, when they find out that a theory is wrong, the people finding out that it's wrong are other scientists who are using the scientific method to be like, hey, this doesn't add up, or we found evidence that contradicts that, or whatever. Like, that's what's so great about it, is that it's designed to self-correct when it gets something wrong, like, it's meant to be able to be revised when more evidence comes out. But yeah, paleontology, man, it's fascinating. Like, this is one of the craziest things. I think they should have highlighted that. I don't know, it'd probably be hard to do, but are we at 15 minutes? I don't know, we got 1 minute left. Is that Dilophosaurus in Jurassic Park, the dinosaur who does like the whole spitty number with the black tar type stuff that he spits out of his mouth? No evidence that actually existed at all, that spit stuff. The dinosaur did, but like whether or not it could spit, there's no evidence to suggest that it could. That's just something they added because they thought it was cool. But what it could do, which is, I think, a billion times more terrifying, but maybe it was just kind of too hard to showcase or explain, is that this is gonna sound like out of a sci-fi movie, like an Alien, but this is like their best evidence of how it worked. That Dilophosaurus had inside of its head, its teeth weren't connected directly to its jawbone. They were connected to these really thin sheets of bone that kind of inserted up inside the skull along like the nasal passage, like this. They're attached to the teeth were attached to that instead of directly to the skull. And the bottom teeth were kind of like hook shaped, hook backwards, like that to hold the meat. And the top teeth were on these bones that, when the muscles flexed, were like a serrated knife. And the top teeth are serrated, and they would like could saw through, not like saw, but like tear, like use the teeth to tear, and it would like, and the bottom teeth would hold it in place. Could you imagine that? That's like a freaking chainsaw mouth. Like it's not as intense, it's not like just like going through meat, but like its teeth move in a cutting action, like a meat cutting knife type thing. Like, it's so insane.
That is way crazy, man.
Because the thing is, like, dinosaurs have had so much longer to evolve than any other species alive right now, because they were on the earth for millions of years, and most things alive today have not been around that long. We're not as like, if like humans, for example, like in the whole like frame of the history of the planet, if it were like a clock, like if the history of the earth were a clock, we would be like the last minute of the last hour is how much time humans have taken up. As far back, at least as far as we know, as far back as we've gone, that we can find any sort of record. But that's just crazy.
Are you starting on the next one now?
Yep.
Cool.
Which, by the way, I mean, I love debating, I love science stuff. I'd love to hear if anyone has objections and they're like, yeah, Austin, I don't believe in dinosaurs because of this. I won't try and make you feel stupid or be like, how dumb could you be? I'd be like, I'll explain to you, or, you know, hear your reasons why. So if you're like, Austin, these paleontologists don't know what they're talking about, I'd be like, oh, well, tell me, where am I wrong about these dinosaurs?
Samantha Pixley has a new plan. She says February I'll be doing Froggyuary, and then in March I'll be doing Marsupial.
Marsupial, like marsupials? That sounds like you have like a Hispanic accent. You're like, marsupials, man. What's your favorite kind of animal? My favorite animal is marsupials. Am I gonna get kicked off of YouTube?
Samantha Pixley says, thank you for inspiring me.
With what? With like dinosaur talk? Or just drawing?
Maybe.
You gonna go be a paleontologist now? I was actually almost wanted to be a paleontologist, and then I talked to a paleontologist, and he's like, well, you really gotta like dinosaurs because it's like 10% field work and like 90% paperwork and dissertations, and
Dang.
it's mostly like research and stuff, and a lot less like dealing with fossils. Then I'll just let you guys do that, and then look at the dinosaurs you found afterwards. Be like, those are cool.
Yeah, let them do the work, then you can.
Then I can talk about it like I'm an expert on the internet. Yeah, it's this dinosaur, blah blah blah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm out of date on my information. There might be more stuff that be like, actually, this paleontological community doesn't believe that anymore. Be like, oh, okay, never mind. Don't listen to me. But I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy who likes dinosaurs.
That was cute.
Thanks.
I liked it.
I'm married though, so just keep that in mind. One time I got a comment on one of my videos. I was like, "Are you single?" And my wife, and I didn't see it. I was like, there's just so many comments on, because I have, I don't know, like I think almost like 200 videos, something like that, and it's just too many to keep up with, like, because people still comment on like older videos, you know. Someone might be like, I look at your video, there's only like 4 comments on each video. It's like, yeah, but now imagine like getting those every day. Anyways, yeah, my wife saw it. She's like, some girl, she's all mad, some girl's trying to hit on you. Sorry. She like comments, yes he is, ho.
Oh my gosh.
Back off my man.
I'm guessing she didn't actually do that.
Not that I know of.
Although it would be really funny.
Now I'd lose all my subscribers.
Just a reminder to share your sketches with us on the Facebook page, Daily Sketch Grind Facebook page. I included the link above in the chat, so make sure to go to that and share your work. Any questions, you guys, for Austin?
They're like, no, if we ask him something, he talks for 20 minutes and then doesn't shut up. No one say anything. What'd you say? Was there a question?
Oh, I just said, oh, maybe I shouldn't say you guys.
Oh, yeah.
You know how that is.
You'll get in big trouble, like I did.
I mean, you guys, meaning girls.
You
and
folks.
Boys.
You everyone.
Yes.
You viewers. The other day when we were talking about adipose tissue
Uh-huh.
on the stream, it was really weird because the next day I saw that word.
Isn't that weird? That
And
happens to me too.
I was like, have I seen that word before? But I just like ignored it because I didn't know what it meant. Like I just like my brain just dismissed it.
Yeah,
Or like it was just really weird because I was like, oh yeah, I know exactly what they're talking about. They're talking about fat tissue. But it was just like weird because up until that I was like, I've never heard of that word before. I don't know what that is. And then the very next day I saw that word.
That's so interesting. That's happened to me a couple times lately, like in the last few days. I've been like, what?
It's when I was researching or not, I don't know if you call it researching, when I was reading about those, I was telling you about the teratoma tumors.
Oh, those are so creepy.
Yeah, they were talking about how they had like the different types of cells inside of just one tumor, and adipose tissue is one of them.
Wow.
It's like its own fat cells, its own uh, teeth and hair. Oh,
Yeah, it's so gross.
and I found out, I did more research. It's not even from absorbing your twin. Doesn't even come from that.
Like
It's just like it just is a thing.
It has nothing to do with.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with that.
a
In
twin.
fact, most of the time they don't come up until you're in like your 20s. Is like the most common.
What?
Yeah. So if you ever needed to make sure you don't sleep at night,
Yeah,
there's some stuff to think about.
great.
No, for
That'll
those of you
help with my
for
narcolepsy.
those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, there's these things called teratoma tumors that are like they're tumors that grow inside of, this is going to get real gross on today's stream. You're welcome. There are these tumors that grow inside of people that have like hair. A lot of times they'll have like hair or teeth in them. They found one with a fully formed eye, a human eye in the tumor. It is super weird, super gross, super nasty. And I don't remember why they said they think they happen, but yeah, it's just like a weird anomaly where it starts growing like, I mean, it's almost like it's growing the features of another person inside of you. Yeah. So weird. Ugh.
What
Eye.
if it started making noise?
They did find one that started developing like lung tissue, like a type of like
Whoa.
respiratory tissue type they find lungs.
Dang.
But I mean, it wasn't like attached to any, like there was no like trait,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like none of it worked, like
Yeah.
the eye wasn't attached to any sort. That's what's so weird, it's like the eye wasn't attached to any sort of like a brain or neural system, and like the lungs weren't attached to anything so that could actually function. But it's just like random body parts that are just like, do I go here? What did your body's just like, wait, what am I supposed to be making? Eyes? Wait, marrow? Eyes. Eyes? You want me to make more eyes? Okay, we'll make some more. Teeth? Do we need more teeth? I feel like we need teeth down here in your thigh. I think we should maybe make a few more teeth. A little bit of hair. It's like your body's just like, you know what? I'm sick of this. Your cells are like, we're making our own person. And we're getting out of here. It's like when little kids are like decide to run away and they're like, I'm running away from home, but they don't really have that good of a plan. Like they like pack some stuff, like a few goldfish crackers, and like the sippy cup or whatever, like a water bottle, and they're like, I'm out of here. But they haven't really thought it through. It's like your body's doing that. Like, you know what? We're gonna make our own person. What do we need? Eyes. Yeah, make an eye. Make an eye. We got it. We need an eye. Well, it's hair. Yeah, they got hair. Look at that. They got the hair. Let's make some hair. So weird. Anyways, yeah, freaking so creepy. It's so creepy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff, man.
So there you go, everyone. Brought to you by your daily live stream, medical horror live stream. So many weird things. I don't know how I find myself on these parts of the internet. It's like the algorithms are just like, oh, we got another one of those weirdos. All right, let's start sending them all our crazy shit.
He's gonna eat it up. Smith Pixley says, "You guys crack me up."
Well, good.
Dang, you've gotten really far on this. You got about a minute and a half left.
Oh yeah,
it's looking really cool. So I got one response from you guys about what you're drawing. Herbonia Baker's drawing male anatomy.
Ooh.
And then and then Samantha Pixley was talking about her plan for February and March. But what else are you guys drawing? I'm drawing a mountain lion right now, and that's kind of fun. I'm enjoying it. What are you guys drawing?
When I was a kid, I always used to think like, man, I wish we had cool animals in America like they do in other countries. Like I just kind of felt like our animals were boring. But I now think it's just because like I grew up with it, like I'm used to it. Because I had some friends who are Japanese foreign exchange students come to my family's house for Thanksgiving like several years ago, and just like driving through just like Utah, they were just like so everything. They were just like, oh, cowboy time, like what Wild West.
Cowboy time.
It was like just, and I'm just like looking at like, you mean the desert? You mean those rocks? You mean those shrubs? Like to me, I'm just like, yep, this boring old desert rocks. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing out there. But to them, they're like, oh, it's just like the Cowboys, and I'm like, I guess it is. Yeah, you're right. And then like, just think about some of the animals we do have that don't exist really anywhere else, like a moose, for example. That's just like, that's some pretty weird ass shit. Like, it's freaking huge. Like, really, really. I don't know if you've ever seen a moose up close in real life, but they're pretty freaking terrifying. My wife and I got charged by a moose one time on a camp out, and it was pretty scary. It was big. It was real big. Taller than me. It was I was probably like eye level with its shoulders. And it's
pretty tall.
I'm 6'3", so and then it was big, and it wasn't even a male, it was a female. Didn't even have antlers, and it was still massive. But just like their face is really weird looking, and is that my timer?
Yep.
Okay. Their face is really weird looking to me, and their antlers are just like, they're not like any other antlers out there at all. They're like these huge like scoops with like these giant claws on them. Like they're just like freaking terrifying. It's like, yeah, I guess we do have some cool stuff. Like grizzly bears. I mean, I guess they have those in Siberia, I think. But it's just like you grow up with them, like you're probably just like, this, I'm used to this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I bet you people in other countries are like, how come we don't have interesting animals like they do in other countries? All we have is tigers and pythons.
And everyone here is like, whoa, tigers and pythons, that'd be so cool if they were here.
Yeah. I grew up in Arizona. Yeah, they're like sporks.
Like sporks.
When I was in when I grew up in Arizona, and like there's some interesting animals there. There's like these things called javelinas. I thought everyone knew what a javelina was. Like I just was raised around it, and I was like, yep, no, it's a javelina. And then when I moved to Utah and stuff, I would like tell stories or like mention them. People like, a what? Like, like a javelina, and like, what is that? I'm like, it's like a wild pig that lives in the desert. It's like fur. And like a warthog? Like, no, it's like a javelina. It's its own thing. It's like an animal. And like people never heard of it before. They're like, what? There's not wild pigs living in the desert. And you're like, yeah, they are. I've seen them before. And they're like boars, basically, kind of. They look like boars, but a little different. Yeah, they're just wild pigs. Where I grew up, see coyotes all the time. They're just like coyotes in Arizona are like raccoons in other parts of the country, where they're just
Wow.
like trot across the freeway. See them in the
Dang.
neighborhood walking around. They just look like mangy stray dogs. Big, really big ears. Grew up around those. Scorpions, tarantulas, centipedes. It's really hard finding bugs like that here. Like as a kid, we just, like they're kind of like the meter boxes for like the water and stuff like that that people have out front of their house, like a little plastic cover in the ground. You like lift it up
Oh,
and
yeah,
there's like the meter
uh-huh.
underneath. Yeah, we'd always go look into those and find like crazy, really dangerous, poisonous bugs. Everything in Arizona is poisonous. You're like, wow, look at that
Really?
butterfly, and they're like, I'll kill you. Just kidding. There's no poisonous butterflies, but like practically everything in Arizona is either like pointy and sharp, like including the plants, either spiky or poisonous. But yeah, it's I don't know. I actually feel like I saw more wildlife living in Arizona than I have in Utah, which I think is interesting since it's like you would think, oh, it's like a desert.
Yeah.
There's nothing, but I felt like I saw a lot more wildlife there. Maybe because it's a desert, the wildlife is more keen on like interacting with humans because it's easier access to resources like water and food than in Utah, where they're like, I'll just live in the mountains and drink from this river or whatever. They're like, hey, I could just live in the desert and like wait for monsoon season to come and then hope I don't die. Or I can go hang out with these guys and get free food. The scariest thing I probably ever saw in Arizona was a rattlesnake.
Ooh.
Like real close. In fact, it was on a camp out with my brothers and my dad and stuff, and we're like kids. And me and Jason, if any of you have taken any of Jason's courses or seen some of the videos he's in with me or his YouTube channel, Jason and I were little, and we were like climbing these rocks, like this big rock outcropping type thing. And you know the scene you know the scene in Jurassic Park where Timmy's like climbing the electric fence and then Ellie turns it on because she doesn't know that he's on it, and he gets electrocuted and just like goes when it goes flying off and just like lands on the ground. But we were like climbing this rock and Jason like pulled himself up to this ledge and all of a sudden he does like that, like just like and I just see him go flying off and land on the ground on his back. He's like freaking out, like what was it? And he's like, there's a rattle. He like apparently pulled himself up to this ledge, and there's just a rattlesnake sitting in this crevice, like face level, just. So he just jumped back up, jumped off, and us being boys just climbed back up there to poke it with sticks and.
Are you for real?
For real.
Oh, dang.
One time my cousin Marcus got stung by a scorpion.
Ooh.
That was pretty scary. That was like, he was like my older cousin. I like looked up to him a lot. He's like 2 years older than me, and I was like, man, he's so cool. And when he got stung, he just like cried, like bawled, like sobbed,
Oh,
and like
dang.
screaming like a little
Probably thought he
baby
was gonna die.
because well, it wasn't even because that was dies because it hurts so bad,
Oh.
like it's so painful. Like people describe it as like it just feels like fire, like burning through your body, like through your veins, like
Dang.
the venom just like it just feels like you're on fire.
Oh, sounds
Yeah, and he was just like screaming, and that just seeing my older cousin who I thought was like so cool and so tough, you know, like he's just like so cool. Marcus is so cool. I want to be like Marcus. And just seeing him like cry like a little baby was just like so terrifying. Like holy cow,
this must be really
what
bad.
could hurt so bad that Marcus, the king of cool kids, is crying like a little baby? Yeah, that scared me for a long time. And the thing that happened is he was reaching under the couch at my grandma's house to get like a sock or something, and it just was a scorpion under there, and it just stung him right in the hand.
Wow.
So then I was really afraid of
So they just show up in your house and just like
my grandma's house. If you have, I don't know.
like
I never saw any scorpions in my house growing up. I didn't see any bugs in my house, but
I mean that wasn't like was it a normal thing in Arizona for like scorpions to just be like hanging out?
not in my house. But my grandma's house, I don't know, it was really old. Maybe it had entry points, or maybe she just didn't clean it. I have no idea. But um, I found multiple scorpions when we'd go visit her in the bathroom. They hang out in the bathroom. I find them.
Wow.
Yeah, it was relatively common, I'd say. Or dead scorpions. I found a lot of dead scorpions in her house. She told me growing up that there were multiple times where her brother would wake up in the middle of the night and have like bite marks all over his body because a centipede was in their bed somehow.
Oh, wow.
And just like,
No centipede bit.
oh, you look at that thing on my desk. You ever looked at it? It's like and all of their legs are poisonous.
Are you for real?
Yeah, they're crazy.
How big are they?
I don't know. The ones I've seen in Arizona that I've caught, like we used to catch bugs and stuff, and we caught centipede before. That was probably about this big.
Are you for real?
And like about that fat.
Oh, I thought they were tiny. See, what
Oh
I'm thinking
no,
of is like tiny.
no, like it's probably about this long, and he was like a grayish blue, like a
Ooh.
pale bluish gray color with like orangish yellow legs.
Dang. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, some of them are little, some are only like this big. They're little itty bitty.
Yeah.
But yeah, millipedes are the ones that are like no big deal. Millipedes are like really long, like it's like
Probably
roly poly bugs,
Yeah.
all stretched out.
That's probably what I've seen.
Those guys are chill. They eat like decomposing things on the forest floor. They don't really like bite you at all. Centipedes, they're mean. They're like scary, horrifying monsters of the insect world. They're not insects, but I guess of the bug world. Like this one, I don't know if I ever told you, but this guy's a Vietnamese centipede. They live on the cave walls and like cave ceilings of caves in Vietnam, and they're strong enough and have like good enough grip and stuff that they will catch, kill, and eat bats out of midair. Like they hang onto the ceiling of the cave, and then they come down, and bats fly by. They just they catch a bat, and the bat's
Is
like,
there a video of that?
Maybe, probably, I don't know. I'm not sure. But
Dang.
yeah, that's one of their main food sources is bats that fly out of the cave at night. They hang on the cave ceiling. Centipedes do and just catch bats as they fly by.
Wow. Adri Afro says, advantages of not having dangerous animals in my country.
What country are you from?
Yeah, I'm curious.
There's dangerous animals in all countries.
That's what I was going to say. Ingvar Artwork says, hey man, I was watching one of your courses. I'll go back to it I'll go back to it, so just want to say thanks. Great content.
Oh, thanks.
Samantha Pixley is saying, are you guys in the same room? If you're referring to Austin and me, Caleb, yes, we are in the same room. Adriafro is from Spain.
I would say bulls are pretty dangerous animals.
Yeah, I would agree. Spain also has, let's see.
We're like telling him about Spain.
Yeah,
No.
let me tell you.
Hey, listen, buddy. Let me tell you what animals live in your country, okay? You don't know nothing.
Seems like they've got wolves, bears, wild boar, Iberian lynx,
Oh, cool.
sharks, stingrays, jellyfish.
Can you really say that sharks and stingrays live in a country, though?
No.
You know, like, unless they're like land sharks to just like running around tearing people apart. Sounds like some scary stuff or
Yeah,
some
it
low
does.
quality sci-fi movie stuff.
Did you say worse than low quality?
I just said low quality, but
Oh.
yeah, worse than low quality would probably be accurate too. Like the Sci-Fi Channel, like Sharknado and all that, those good movies. However, I gotta say, like things like wolves and bears and stuff like that, it's like you can kind of like see them coming, you know. It's not like one scratch and you're just like, well, shit, I'm dead. You know what I mean? Like if I had to choose what I was gonna go up against, and like its natural. If I had to choose if I was gonna get like secret, like a just accidentally get bit by a scorpion versus like face off a wolf that I met while camping, I think I might go with the wolf because I feel like I could kind of scare the wolf away. Scorpion's just like I sting you, like it doesn't care. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just really dumb. People are like some wolf expert out there is like you're an idiot. I knew a kid who was from Sudan. He's a refugee from Sudan that I was friends with, and he was like raised in like a village, like a tribe, you know. And I was asking him, I was just kind of hypothesizing, like if I had to fight a lion, here's what I think I would do. You've seen lions in the wild and like hunted them. Do I stand a chance? And he just laughed at me. Oh no, you die so fast. You would be so dead. Like I think I could take a lion. No, they kill you. They break your spear. They kill you. Oh, okay.
You're into accents today, aren't you?
That's right.
It's pretty entertaining.
So, according to my friend who grew up around people who hunted lions, I stand 0% chance against fighting and killing one. But what does he know? I could do it. I could do it.
Love how confident you are about that.
I'm just thinking if I was in an arena with a hungry lion and I had like a steel sword and some steel-toed boots, maybe like a loincloth, I think I could.
Did you have to throw that in there?
Yeah. I don't want you to think I'm covered in armor. I'm not. Otherwise, I think you could survive a lot longer. I'll just kick it in the throat as hard as I could with my steel-toed boots, and it would just be like, I've never been kicked in the throat before. Oh my gosh! I don't know. I'd still probably die. There's that show called "I Shouldn't Be Alive." It's like people telling like their stories of how they like survived situations that should have like killed them. You know, and the animal attack ones, man, just like horrifying. Like people get attacked by bears and like describe what happened, and you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, definitely, you could like you. There's no chance. Like you cannot fight back. They're so strong and so powerful. Like guy got attacked by a bear, and he said just like picked him up and shook him like his dog shakes his stuffed animal toy, like just
Dang.
just like shaking him. There's like nothing he could do.
Well, yeah, bears and wolves and savage pigs. I don't know how it's called in English.
Wild pigs, yeah, whatever.
Like boars.
Boars, yeah.
Yeah. But all of them are in captivity.
All of them. There's none that are wild. Do you have any more wild animals? Or are they just like on reservations? Maybe.
It's 11:03, by the way.
Okay.
My alarm, I accidentally didn't start the last alarm. So.
Oh, you're good. All right. Well, I was thinking, I was like, man, I got pretty far. All right, let's see. They turned out pretty good for being like really fast.
Yeah, man.
Let's arrange them here on our canvas so we can see all of them at once. They're too big. I didn't post these in the group. I keep forgetting to post my sketches.
Nice.
Are you saying that to my drawings or to someone else?
I'm
Said
saying
something?
nice to you for not posting your sketches in your own group. But yes, your drawings are awesome.
Thanks. Right answer. Just kidding. There was a guy who killed a bear by biting his jugular or something. What?
Dang.
I know there's a guy in the news where I live that like kicked, like basically fought off a mountain lion. Like he was camping with his little toddler son and he was fishing and he heard his son making a weird noise and he turned around and there's a mountain lion with his son's head like in its mouth and he just ran over there and like pried his jaws off and just like beat the crap out of it. Saved his son.
Dang.
Mountain lions aren't like, they're pretty strong, but they're pretty like timid. Like I've seen a golden retriever chase a mountain lion up a tree and keep it there. Like a mountain lion was afraid. And I'm about 99% sure me and my brother got stalked by. We went on like a hike up in Butterfield Canyon, over here by the Ochre Mountains, and we were with my dog. I just kept hearing like there's something up in the trees, you know, like real heavy but real quiet. Like I could barely hear it. Like it just sounded like really soft, you know. And then every time I'd stop moving, it would stop moving. It'd just be silent, and I'd just sit there for a minute. And I'd start walking. I could hear it like walking through the leaves, you know. And I don't know, just the way whatever it was pretty big. Like it definitely wasn't a squirrel. It was like heavy, you know. Like you could hear its footfalls, but it was like hiding. Like it felt like it was stalking us because it would stop when we stopped, and it was clearly trying to not make noise. And the place that it was like up on this hill, really steep. It was extremely unlikely that it would have been a person. Like really dense undergrowth, a lot of trees, really like super super steep. And it was like we were out. There was no one out there. Like you have to drive up to the trailhead, and we were the only car way up there. You know, I don't know. It was pretty creepy.
Crazy.
Never saw what it was though. My dog's pretty dumb. He's not dumb. He's just kind of oblivious. Like he's just like running around. Had no idea. He's like run right past other animals before, and like we see them, and he's just like, "What?" And we're like, "Right there." What? Oh my goodness, a raccoon. Anyways, all right. Well, that was fun. Tomorrow will be our last stream for the month. Super excited, and thanks for joining us. Hope you guys had a good time, and. I think the more dangerous thing here are the cows. Sorry, I just saw that comment. That's funny. Anyways, all right. Well, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.
See you later.